We're back to the Neil Haley Show. I'm with best-selling author Grace Lynx Jenkins of Sight. Grace, thanks for stopping by. And you have a topic I love. And honestly, I was a video game addict when I was a young boy, and that was a long time ago. But you said that you gain a lot of it from video games you're writing. Tell us why.
Yeah, thank you. So, a lot of it comes down to whenever you play a video game, especially one that has a huge story or an open world, you're able to explore different facets of these different worlds and see what works and what doesn't. So, one example that I really like to give is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, Skyrim is a fantasy video game where you're trying to slay dragons as the Dragonborn, so a person who can shout like the dragons. And this particular video game, along with all the other games in the series, they just have this massive world with all of this lore that you can absorb. You can find it in different books throughout the game. You can find different characters that are even very interesting as well. So you can look at that and go, oh, well, that's very interesting. I don't think that I'll copy this exactly because you never want to copy anything exactly, but you can draw inspiration from how the world building is set up. You can draw inspiration even from if I were to play a game with my friends in just an open world sandbox game like even Minecraft or Vintage Story. That's another one. Sometimes you and your friends just create stories while you're playing, and you can use that as an inspiration to sit down and go, okay, how could this possibly work? So it's mainly taking different aspects from these video games, absorbing them, and then after you've processed them a little bit, you can use those as inspiration for your own works.
Okay. So I was big into some types of fantasy ones. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves that was on the Apple IIe computer. So I'm going to date myself. That was one of my favorites that I went fantasy the whole way through in a storyline. And I was a Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and asteroids. So I'm just going my dating myself. But really, do you think that these real worlds that are created really teach you to really analytically think about things and stuff, especially even look at Roblox or Minecraft, where you really have to build and design and strategically think about things?
Yeah, they do. They encourage creativity and they also encourage perseverance and preparation. If you're going to go out and you're going to slay a dragon, right? You can't just waltz onto an open field with nothing in your inventory. No, of course not. You have to have your weapons, you have to have your spells. If you're a magic caster, you might want somebody there with you as a follower to help you. So it does teach you that, hey, if you're going to do something massive, if you're going to do something that requires a lot of hard work, like writing a book, for instance, you need to prepare yourself for that by using the different tools at your disposal, such as potentially reading other books to get an idea of what works and what doesn't work. You might write an outline. There are so many different ways that you can approach it. And of course, perseverance is a huge one. It took me 3 years to write a book. It's not necessarily going to be something that you can sit down and do in about a month. No, it's going to take time and it's going to take hard work because you want to sit there and make sure that everything is exactly right. And then you need to edit the book because you don't just want to push out a first draft. They often have errors, so you go back and you rework it, and it takes a lot of perseverance on a certain level. But once you get there, you feel very accomplished because you have actually stuck it out and done something that you said that you were going to do.
No, my question to you is, do you think video games are the same thing in perseverance? Playing a game for hours and hours on end without
Mhm.
getting a result, that's helped you keep that perseverance going.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are some times where you'll have to fight a boss or something and you will just keep dying 50 million times. So what you have to do is you either try to brute force it or you think about it, you find a different strategy and you go from there. So a lot of the times video games actually not only teach you how to stay the course, but also how to think outside of the box and how to solve problems differently. Especially if you have any form of open world video game, which is typically what I like to play, there are usually different ways to solve the same problem. And depending on how you want to approach it, you can accomplish the same thing just in different ways. It's like how somebody might use one method to solve a math problem, and then a different person may use a different method to solve the math problem, and they both get the same answer. There are different ways that you can do the same thing in many cases.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You're so right about this, Grace, because you know, you go ahead and tell that story, but it's the patience, the fantasy stuff. So the days of Dungeons and Dragons are really on computers now, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. Now I do enjoy some tabletop games too. I absolutely love to play them with friends. But yes, a lot of our newer video games, especially if you go back into, I would say the early 2010s is when a lot of good games came out. And even then, we still have a few games coming out now where, especially indie games, where you can sit down and you can follow a story. You can see what works, see what doesn't work, take that and apply it to your own writing. And because you have all of these different people out here telling their stories, especially on the indie side, you can sit down and just immerse yourself in different ideas and different ways to write the same idea.
Same idea. So interesting because it's a process, isn't it, Grace?
Yeah, it definitely is. It takes a massive amount of work to sit down and write a book in the same way that it might take a massive amount of time and effort to beat a game. I mean, sometimes that's just the way it is, especially if you look at really hard games like the Dark Souls series, which I have never beaten, but my husband loves to play. You will find that it does take a lot of effort to build the skill needed to go out and fight these giant monsters, these enemies.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Great conversation. So video games makes you a better author and better in life.
Yeah.
And we learned that from Grace today. Go to gracelynxjenkins.com to purchase the book and write a 5-star review for sure. And check her out on Goodreads. That's another great place. Appreciate it, Grace.
Thank you.
That was the Neil Haley Show, guys. Take care.